Go ahead and bring Coach in. Our guest is here, Coach David Riley. What's going on, Coach? Thanks for joining us.
Coach, what's going on?
Hey, hey, Jason, Britt, and K World. Hey, just getting older, man. I need a shave, probably.
Good to see you, Coach.
Well, we're glad you got the technology figured out, and
Oh my
we're
goodness,
glad
man!
you're here.
Look, I started at 7.
Well, hey, if you showed up after 8:15, we were going to make you run a couple gassers after the
Yeah,
show. So,
yeah, correct.
Hey, look, I would have had Soup write me a note.
all right, man. Let's get into it, Coach, because the big story right now in college football is obviously Deion Sanders. He's leaving Jackson State, headed to Colorado. Coach, I've seen so much talk about this. I had to get off social media for 24 hours because some of the stuff that I was seeing
Yeah.
it just seemed a little ridiculous to me. But I want to hear what you think about this whole thing, man. What were your thoughts on Coach Prime heading to Colorado and leaving Jackson State?
Well, my thing is, I felt, and speaking of what you were just talking about, getting off of social media, I've been debating Tim for the longest, so you know what's going on. Oh my, hey man, oh my goodness, man. Everybody's hating on him. I like what he's done at Jackson State. It's always it's always more work that needs to be done and that can be done, but sometimes you got to pass that baton and let
Yeah,
somebody else carry it. I can remember just like when you guys left, I left, but I thought we were in good hands because I passed the baton on to Coach Howard.
Hmm.
So I he's not leaving. He's leaving them in a better position than they started. A
Exactly.
lot of people are upset because he's taking players with him. Okay, if I had opportunity, I grab you guys up too and take you with me. I I grab you too, Britt. I'm trying to win.
I'll be a
So,
good water girl.
oh no, 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 Britt. Hey, Britt, we'll teach you how to coach. That's what we do. But
All
but
right.
the thing is, to get back to your point, Jason, it's very difficult, and I'm sure, he spoke, with his family and talked about it and stuff like that. That's a great opportunity for him. We lost 3 or 4 black coaches.
yeah,
We get replaced with one.
Right. Good call, Coach.
yeah,
So
yeah,
my thing is for him, to use every resource that he can to be successful. He didn't say he was going to forget about Jackson State. They're on ESPN, all the HBCs. They're on, ESPN,
Hmm.
ESPN
Mhm.
Plus. I can't remember the last time besides when Southern and Grambling used to play all
Yeah.
the time that
Value
we had
Classic. Yep.
opportunity to get on there. What I didn't like, they cut back the band.
Hey.
Now we used to look forward to that because hey, that's what was happening when we were growing up. But
Right.
like you said, I think it's a great move for him. I think he's going to do some great things. He's already putting together a great coaching staff. He
yeah.
already got the guy Nick Williams from Texas A&M,
Hmm.
who recruited all those kids for Jimbo.
Hmm.
Yep, yep.
So so how can you get angry at somebody trying to be successful and
Mhm.
not only giving other kids opportunities?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with
Yeah.
you 100%. And I think he got Sean Lewis for his offensive coordinator, I think, who was at Kent State and put up some great numbers. So he's putting a good
Mhm.
staff together for sure. But coach, what kind of success do you think he can have? Obviously, I think we all think he's going to do well, but how quickly do you think he can kind of get that thing rolling? Obviously, Colorado, look, we know they have a rich football history, national championship, Heisman Trophy winners, all that. So you can win at Colorado. I heard someone say, like, if you can win it in Wisconsin, you can win in Colorado. But how quickly, coach, do you think he can get this thing going coming off a 1-11 season?
The key is, people want to play for him.
Hmm.
to me, that's half the battle.
Yeah.
You know, and my thing is he doesn't sugarcoat anything. He came in and told the kids from Colorado just what it was going to be. I'd rather for somebody to shoot me straight than lead me on and have me just sitting around. I wonder what's going to happen. Tell me the truth so I can make a decision. He said, I'm telling you now, then you can go into the portal.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's giving his opportunity for them to make decisions too. How quickly with this transfer portal, I think it'll be like Lincoln Riley. I think I think he's gonna get kids in there that's gonna want to play. He's hungry. He's a competitor.
Yeah.
And when your coach is hungry, you kind of take in the mentality of your coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And the personality, he's just magnetic. Like you said, people want to play for him. There's already rumors floating around that over 200 athletes have contacted Colorado wanting to be a part of the program. But K-Walk and Britt, and I'll start with you. I'll ask you the same question. How quick do you think Coach Prime can get that thing turned around in Colorado?
Well, first and foremost, I think Coach Prime is going in with a no-nonsense type of attitude. So he's on a mission right now. And he said it in his first team meeting, you know.
Yeah.
He announced his son, Shador Sanders, is going to be the starting quarterback. So he's coming over with them. I know the former number one recruit was it last year, a couple years ago, Travis Hunter. Last year, Travis Hunter just announced he's going to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys alluded to, a lot of great athletes are entering this transfer portal, and he's Deion Sanders. They're going to want to learn from Deion Sanders. So I think he's going to get this turned around pretty fast, maybe within the next year or two, maybe this year coming up. I would not be surprised at all. And they just got a top recruit commit, for the class of 2025 already.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
Yeah, he said he's bringing his luggage, and it's Louis. So K-Walk, he's bringing some dogs with him. K-Walk, how quick? What do you expect in his first year? Is he gonna put a decent squad out on the field?
Yeah, I think he does, Jay. I mean, you mentioned 200 student athletes going into the portal because of him. You know, reaching out to Colorado. I mean, that gives you immediate success. At least you have the talent right there to start off with. You know, he knows what he's going to get with his son Shador. He knows he's going to get with Hunter as well. And he's going to have to turn some guys away, man. It's going to be as much as he wants everyone to come play for him, but I think maybe he starts off 500, a little above 500, maybe below, but he starts to build from there. But he's starting to put together a great staff, and if he can get the right athletes with the right character as well, not just on the football field, but off the football field in the classroom. And I know he preaches that. As long as he can get those guys, I think he's going to have a pick of the litter, from what I'm hearing. So I think he gets off, to a respectable start, and then he builds from there for sure.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, Britt.
I was gonna say, did Nick Saban cry yet?
Nah, he ain't gonna cry. He gonna break something.
Yeah, look, I was just gonna say that I don't think the formula is that hard. Like usually the guy with the best players wins a lot of games,
right.
And he's gonna have some players. So give Deion a little bit of time. I think he's going to have that thing rolling in Colorado for sure. But Coach, you mentioned the transfer portal. And there are tons. I mean, that thing lit up like a Christmas tree yesterday. Tons of guys in the transfer portal. Obviously, we saw what Lincoln Riley did at USC, how quickly you can turn a program around. But just generally speaking, I like the transfer portal. I like the freedom that it gives players to move, especially when your coach leaves and different things like that. But there's also a lot of criticism about the transfer portal. But as a guy that's been around it, played before there was a portal, kind of like K-Walk and I, where we really didn't have the ability to just transfer without being penalized for it. How do you feel about the transfer portal? Is it good for college football? Think it needs to be tweaked? What are your transfer?
Yeah, I think the transfer portal, it has a lot of pros and cons, but some of the pros that you just mentioned, but the cons are that it's killing the high school kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awful. And Jay and Brittany and K World, you guys know I deal with kids all the time, and to listen to the parents talk about it. What I think the NCAA should do, they should, go half and half. You know, you can only bring X amount of transfer portal kids into your program, and then you can bring X amount of high school players. So if you don't get high school players, how do they get developed
Right.
to keep your team successful? So they're walking around now that the portal has opened. Nobody's talking to the kids
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
First they were receiving love, come visit our school. That now all of a sudden they're not hearing anything from these schools that were talking to them earlier.
Right.
The transfer portal. The other con for me is that you also want to be successful on the field, but you also want to be successful off the field. How many times do you transfer and that you can take your grades with you?
Right.
So, so I'm transferred from one school. Okay, I might have took 12 to 16 hours. Just depends on what's, some programs tell you, hey, don't take no more than 12.
Yeah.
So you're taking your 12 credits. Suppose you go to another school and they only take 6 of them.
Yeah, they don't transfer, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you depending now on hopefully playing pro ball because you don't have anything to fall back on. So to me, that's the disadvantage of the transfer portal. Now, what I did like what Colorado said with Deion, they're working on making sure that whoever transfers in, that their grades would transfer with them. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now I'm feeling good about the transfer portal.
Yeah.
But that's one school.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody else is saying that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I like what you said about the transfer portal as far as the pluses, but we also got to look at the negativity of them too. And they got to do something to help these high school kids.
Nah, Coach, I think that's an excellent point because
Yes.
I think that's probably one of the unintended consequences. Like nobody thought what it would do to high school football.
Right.
And Coach Aaron's son kind of went through it a little bit in basketball, being recruited to play basketball. But because of that transfer portal, he noticed that he wasn't being recruited as hard because they were going after guys that were transferring because they feel like they're a little bit further along, a little more developed. So you are starting to see that. So yeah, that is an excellent point. And then obviously the academic point is huge because if everybody's banking on making it to the league, I mean, we know how that goes. So,
but Jay, and I don't mean to cut you guys off. My thing is too, you got to realize that those coaches, man, they have to win.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to win now. And like one coach told me, I'm not recruiting any high school kids. He said, because I got to get it done now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how crazy is that? When the last time you heard a college coach say, I'm not recruiting any high school kids? I'm like, okay, so every year you got to live in the portal or JC.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's crazy. It's crazy how things have changed because definitely, wasn't like that before. K-Walk, man, quickly, your thoughts on the transfer portal. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought about that a while ago. What Coach said as far as the high school kids and high school, kids, getting left out of the picture, if you will, because of the transfer portal. So many guys and girls are entering in that. And I was going to ask Coach, about the junior college. I went to a junior college. Obviously, we didn't have the transfer portal then, but are we starting to see that more? Are these guys going more towards the junior college, or we see them going to the HBCUs, FCS? Were you starting to see more of these high school kids going towards, to be honest with you, is it going to junior college or where they can play immediately, obviously, as freshmen and sophomores? Where you see them going to more?
Well, a lot of them are going. Believe it or not, a lot of them are going D2, D3 because then they're getting film of themselves playing on the college level, and then they try to go into the portal, and hopefully the Power Five or the Group Five or the FCS will pick them up. So I see more of that. But what you said, like you went to JC. They're into the JC. JC is almost like the portal for them because now you're getting a kid that is seasoned. And with your job in jeopardy, do you want the high school coach? I mean, the high school player, or do you want a kid that can help you right away?
Right. Yeah, and yeah, I agree. I definitely agree because we've seen some. I mean, speaking of Lackawanna, where I went to, Jay can attest to this because he has some Penn State guys there. Penn State. Brisker, the one who he went to Penn State, transferred out of Lackawanna. Now he's playing with the Bears now. So you definitely see those guys who can actually play on that level, starting to start off. Whether it could be for their academics or it could just be because they're just not getting that attention they would normally get if the portal wasn't there. But to answer your question, Jay, I do agree with Coach. There are pros and cons, and these kids these kids are young men and women have to start thinking about not going to that next level. You're not going to be in that 1%, 2%, whatever that number is that that you get to make it. So they have to start focusing more on their academics, their future, things of that nature, like Coach mentioned, because if you transfer so many times, it's going to be like you're starting all over again. And it's going to be like, you're there for 2-3 years and you get, 50 credits. I'm just using the number 60 credits, what have you. And the more you transfer, you lose half of that. So you're just kind of like, pushing you back behind the 8 ball, but definitely agree with that, Coach.
Yeah, man. It's funny.
K-World, what you're doing is you're practicing on how to go to school.
Right, basically.
Lifetime student.
That's rough because one day reality is going to hit some of these kids, and that's the disappointing part of it. And it's funny you mentioned Lackawanna. Lackawanna is like a pipeline to Penn State now, where before it wasn't happening. Like Penn State was a school that was like, oh, we don't take JCs, but now like anybody at Lackawanna that's good, they're snatching them up as quickly as they can, man. So
for sure.
So it's crazy. But all right, Coach, let's shift gears a little bit, man. The playoff is set. We got Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State. Simple question. Did the committee get it right? Are the right 4 teams in the playoff?
Yes, unfortunately, I'm a Nick Saban fan and stuff, being from West Virginia. I cried with him. I got emotional. He was hurt. he wants it expanded to 12 teams now. He said he would like to do it for 2023. So, but they got it right. I think it's gonna be very entertaining because each team, each one of them creates a different problem for each team. Ohio State, with their passing game and stuff. But we all know that doggone Georgia, man. Whew, they're pretty good.
Different.
And Michigan, and I know you guys can agree. I am shocked. I mean, they are more physical than ever before, and you don't really need a quarterback. Them jokers can run the football.
Yes,
Blake Corum goes out, who I thought had a chance for the Heisman. But now, can he get his job back?
Right.
Yeah.
I was running away with that thing.
Man, in Georgia, I mean, offense and defensive line, I mean, that's where they just beat you up in the trenches, man. They really do. But Britt, what's your thoughts? Did they get it right? I know some people were thinking Alabama may have had a shot to get in. What do you think? Did they get it right with Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State?
She gonna say yes.
Nick Saban can cry a river for all I care. They got it right.
Come on, Britt. Hey, Britt, come on.
They absolutely got it right. I mean, look, Alabama has 2 losses. One to Tennessee, and what was the other one? LSU. Where is LSU? I don't even know what happened with them. But no, I think they got it right. For the most part. I'm an Ohio State fan, and
Dang, okay.
I don't think we got a chance against Georgia. I really don't. But no, overall, I think this time, they got it right. I feel like they stood their ground. They did what they did in previous years. No 2-loss team was getting in. And then USC, they just fumbled. I don't know what they just fumbled the ball. So I think they got it right.
Yeah.
Okay, Walk, I know you were saying Bama's one of the best 4 teams. Did they get it right, or do you feel like Bama should have been in there?
No, I definitely think they got it right. I just thought they were just going to go with Bama because of, like Coach said, because of Nick Saban. But my saying is, Coach, is cry me a river, build a bridge, and get over it. I mean, Nick, that's all I can say to But I think they got it right twofold. One, I think TCU, remaining at 3 was a good move, and 2, that we avoided what looks like we avoided the Ohio State Michigan rematch, at least in the first round of the playoffs. And like Britt said, and then Coach alluded to as well, is that Georgia just looks like a different animal, and it doesn't look like Ohio State could possibly get past it. So even if Michigan gets past TCU, we're not going to see that Michigan Ohio State rematch, which a lot of people didn't want to see. So I think they got it right twofold for sure.
I'm praying for luck, guys. I'm praying for luck.
Hey, I that's my dog in the fight right now, Britt. I got Ohio. I like Ohio State. I love Ohio State. I do.
That one might be closer than people think. I mean, Ohio State's got some weapons on the outside that might make it. I think Georgia wins the game, but it might not be as bad as some people think it's going to be. But Coach, man, the committee's supposed to put the best 4 teams in. Is Alabama better than TCU?
That's a great question, Jason. Like I said, each one presents a different problem for each one of them. TCU is fast.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you guys watched the opening season when Alabama played Texas, you say how Worthy was blowing past our corners.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
TC got that same type of speed. And I don't know if Alabama would be able to contain. Shoot, their receivers are 6'4", 6'5", 6'5". Come on, that's rough.
Yeah.
But then again, Alabama, it's Alabama. I would never count Bryce Young out. Right. That kid is really, he's special.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't answer your question. But I'm a Nick Satan. Not Nick Saban, Satan. I'm Nick Satan fan.
Well, look, in a couple years, we're not going to have to worry about 4 teams. We're going to 12. Coach, what are your thoughts on the 12-team playoff? I like it because maybe my Nittany Lions can get into the mix. But what do you think about a 12-team playoff that's coming?
Well, I was hoping that they go to at least 48 so West Virginia could get in. Look, forget that 12. Extend it. Keep extending until we get in one of these times. But I think it's going to add a lot of flavor to the bowl series. I think it's going to be great for football and teams. You're gonna see, just like NCAA basketball, you're gonna see some teams come in there and upset some people because it's only a 1-game series. So
I just need West Virginia to stay bad for the opener next year against Penn State. After that, I hope they win every other game, but I need them to stay bad for that.
That's
opener.
Gonna be a classic. That's gonna be a classic.
Valley. I need them to stay bad for that.
The war of words is on, buddy. It's on. It's on. Just like when you were there. Look, I'm fussing with you on the bus going to the game, man.
Oh man. Okay, Walk, do you like the 12-team playoff?
Yeah, I do, man. I do. I thought they were going to go to 8 first to start off with and eventually get to 12. But I ultimately like the 12. I don't think you're obviously going to hear, there's always going to be arguments or debates about who should be the 12th team, 11th team. You're always going to get that. But I think the 12 you're going to see that you're going to see the best teams are obviously going to be in there, going from 10 on down or 10 on up, however you want to look at it. But yeah, I definitely think I like it, and there's not going to be any arguments. There's going to be those teams that fan base, we should be in there. We beat this team, but those are the 12 and 11 teams, but they're ultimately going to be irrelevant anyway. Shout out to Brock Purdy, by the way. So yeah, I definitely like it for sure.
Britt, your Buckeyes are in it almost every year, so the 12 doesn't matter to you as much, but do you like it for college football?
I love it for college football. First of all, like Coach alluded to earlier, it gives some relevancy to some of these bowl games because I got tired. Cheez-It Bowl, Cotton Bowl. I don't care about these bowls. But now we got 12 teams. We got some relevancy here. I think it creates more competition. And, going forward, there may be some crazy upsets that may shock you. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So I'm excited about the 12 teams.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to as well. Like, we've got our ideas about what teams we think are better, what conferences we think are better. But now we'll get to actually see it play out on the field. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, Coach, last one before we got to get out of here. But the Heisman Trophy finalists came out. We got Caleb Williams, C.J. Stroud, Max Duggan, and Stetson Bennett. What do you think about those four? And who do you think should win the award, or should we just not give out a Heisman this year? I don't know. What are your thoughts on the four finalists?
My thing is, I know the kid Hooker got hurt. How can you leave him out?
Yeah.
It's almost embarrassing that you would even have a Heisman Trophy and you don't have the best player in there.
Yeah.
Right.
So, as far as Caleb Williams probably will win it, but I really still like C.J. Strong from Ohio State. Yeah. But the other two, they're in it just because of Bennett. He's a champion and might have a chance to win the championship again. Duggan, he was okay. He did. He's that Tebow.
Yeah.
I agree, Coach.
Okay,
I agree, Coach.
and I hope Prince hears that too. But anyway, that's for another show. But anyway, I would go. Like I said, I think Caleb Williams will win it. He played hurt, did a great job. It kind of reminded me of when Justin Fields got hurt that time playing against Clemson. Still came back and performed. But it should come down between him and Stroud, Ohio State. I think they're the better two, with Hooker not being in there.
Yeah, it's funny because every year you kind of look for like a Heisman moment, and I don't feel like anybody really separated themselves with that Heisman type moment this year. But K-Walk, man, what say you about those final four? Who do you think brings it home?
Yeah, I'm with Coach here. I like C.J. Stroud as well. I think he's the best quarterback. Obviously, all four of these are quarterbacks. I think he's the most complete quarterback out of this group right here. But like Coach said, I mean, you had Duggan. I mean, Duggan, if he would have won that game against Kansas State with that performance he had late in the in that game, if they would have won that game, got that ball in the end zone, 8 inches to go, but I think he would have been the favorite. Right now, I do like I think I agree with Coach. I think Caleb will be second, but I do think CJ is going to squeak it out. I do think he'll get it done. Stetson Bennett's got to be there because he won it last year, and he's a champion, and he's the number one team. They're favorite to win it all, so you got to have a representative in there. I just think that's the only reason why he's there, in my opinion. Not saying he's not deserving of it. I just think those other three quarterbacks are a little bit better than he is. But I'm going CJ Stroud here.
Britt, that's your Ohio State guy. Is this a no-brainer for you? Stroud, your Heisman?
Look, I have to give credit to Max Duggan. He played hard in that game. He was exhausted. He took a couple of shots. He was looking like a crash test dummy out there. He took some hard shots. I was like, ooh, he might not survive, but he came back. No, I'm with them. I got to give it to CJ Stroud. That passing game is just dynamic, and he makes it happen. I agree with K-Walk. I think Stetson Bennett is in there because they have the number one team. Kalen Williams, I think he's close to CJ Stroud, but I think ultimately is going to be CJ Stroud. But I really agree with Coach. I don't know how Hendon Hooker is not in this.
Yeah.
He has been playing dynamic all season long prior to when he got hurt. And he may have potentially won it, maybe. But by choice, CJ Stroud. Go
Yeah,
Ohio State. Let's go.
Do y'all have anything else for Coach while we got him? K-Walk, anything you need to ask Coach? Britt, you got anything for Coach?
Nah, thanks, Coach, for joining us. I so appreciate it. I know it was kind of last minute when I called you. I forgot about your show, so thanks so much, Coach. I know it's almost your bedtime right now, so appreciate that. Hey, Coach, unless you took a nap, did you take a nap today, Coach? Did you get squeeze a nap, man?
I got one because I knew I was going to be up to 8:30.
Awesome. Thanks again, Coach. Such a pleasure, bro.
All right, guys. All right.
Thanks,
Brett, you got anything, Brett?
Oh, no, I'm good. Thanks, Coach, for coming on. We appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, Coach. Thank you, man. We
All right.
appreciate it. We'll see you.
Right. Anytime, guys. All right.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Coach David Riley. Always great to catch up with Coach. And good stuff, guys. This was a lot.